LSG looking really poor. How can you make this look like it's such an easy chase? 205 are a lot of runs.
Yeah, we're getting to a new realm when we're saying that 2 overs and a bit to spare, and they meandered to a score of over 200, aren't we? We're sort of, and it felt like that.
Yeah.
But it's the way they started, and Abhishek was brilliant up front. It made sure that 120 after 10, it made sure they didn't have to take any undue risks later in the piece. They still scored relatively quickly. Yeah. I mean, Klaasen still scored at a strike rate of, 180? Yeah. So they still played, really comfortably. But that's the Hyderabad we expected to see for most of the season, rather than, just 4 wins only. It's not a side that on paper, I know a lot of guys had Hyderabad as one of their top 4 teams at the start of the season after last year, after keeping a majority of their players, looking like they were going to be a good side again. But it just shows you when they haven't been on their game, they've been found wanting, they've been poor at times, but that was the real Hyderabad that showed up today. And for Lucknow, just that bowling attack again, in excess of 200. I don't think it was a decent wicket. I don't think it was a great pitch. There was enough hold there at times, but that sort of bowling attack just hasn't really been up to scratch, I don't think, for the most part this season, and that's been their major issue.
Joy, LSG last won a game exactly a month ago, on the 19th of April. 1 month without a single win. The air in that dressing room will be very heavy.
Yeah, and there's a big gap in between as well when the games were stopped. So I think that's the thing that, they got a couple of victories, some good ones. I mean, the one against, especially when they sneaked to win against Rajasthan,
2 runs.
Match they should have lost, but they managed to get through. And then you say that, okay, now this team is emerging. I think a couple of things happened, which is that, yes, I mean, their formula was clear. Top order is going to be international top order, score a lot of runs. Indian bowlers get wickets. And that fell apart. I mean, they had a lot of bowlers at the start of the tournament. Mohsin Khan, Mayank Yadav, these guys were both looked on as, 2 guys who were going to be very important parts. Both of them were injured. Both of them didn't come to the party at all. Akashdeep didn't do very much. The biggest disappointment, though, for them is not that. It is Ravi Bishnoi. Yeah. Because Bishnoi was their go-to spinner. He's the guy who was supposed to control that middle order. And Bishnoi has just looked so out of touch, it's been very difficult.
He's been out-bowled, hasn't he, by Digvish?
Digvish has been the better bowler by far.
Out-bowled by Digvish.
And Bishnoi has been one of those ICC-ranked players in this format. Now, look at this LSG journey. In the first 5 matches, they'd won 4. They'd lost just 1. And then suddenly, it seemed to go pear-shaped. The last win was on the 19th of April against RR, which they won by 2 runs. And thereafter, they've not just lost, but they've lost big. Lost by 8 wickets to DC, lost by 54 runs to MI, by 37 runs to Punjab, and by 6 wickets tonight. So clearly it's a case of a lot of things going wrong at the same time.
Well, the 3 overseas batters have all got an excess of 400 now.
Yes, Markram,
Marsh and Pooran.
Yes.
All in excess of 400 in the season. So you get 3 players over 400 and you still finish in the bottom half of the table. You've kind of got to look elsewhere. Okay, I know Rishabh Pant didn't have a great season with the bat. Their Indian batters have not come to the fore, but the overseas batters have done the job for them. So you kind of probably have to look at where the bowling was pretty good in those 4 wins early on. It just fell away, and as the reserves weren't there, what they were hoping for didn't come to fruition. I don't think Avesh was as good at the back end of the season as he was at the start. And, when you're relying quite heavily on Bishnoi and he hasn't come to the party, just different things have just not quite gone right for them.